Welcome back. Today we're proceeding with our AI tutor project. In the previous video, we set up the project and we ran it, and we confirmed that we could run our Gemma 4 model locally, and you can type a question and it can answer. But the thing that was missing there was that it wasn't grounded to any source of truth. So in this video, what we are going to do is you see, I have a curriculum now, a simple JSON file containing grade 8 maths curriculum for South Africa. This is like a scaled down version of what I use for my other project, which is live. I'll share a link in the description where I have a WhatsApp based tutor for South African students. But yeah, so the JSON contains things like your knowledge components, the description, misconception, as well as teaching notes. So the idea here is with our local model, we're also going to just use this to now sort of guide it in a way that it should teach the students following this curriculum. So between the two videos, I added a few files. The first one is the curriculum class. As you can see, it has some tokenize, getting some similarity because I will try to search for a certain phrase in the curriculum to see which topic it corresponds to. Unfortunately, in this video, I'm not going to do vectorization and all that. This is just a basic reg implementation where I'm using like words, matching on words, not on semantics. So just in a nutshell, we load all JSON files from that curriculum folder, and then we pass it. We have two functions, get possible topics, where we get a grade, the subject, and then the query that the user sent, and then we get the top 5 possible topics. And then the other one is get teaching notes, where we then get from a topic, the model will choose which topic is the best based on the query that the user sent in. And then the teaching node would then use that KC, which is the knowledge component code, to find the actual teaching notes from this JSON file and then start teaching the student. The other thing that I've added is, you'll see I've added a bit of prompts. Yeah, it took a while to get these prompts working, so that's why I don't want to write them from scratch. So this one is the classifier, which takes the student's question or whatever the student sent and try to classify it between a few categories. This is the generic. I just updated it a little bit from the previous one that we had in the previous video. This is when they are off topic. Just to say we're not doing that. And then the big one is the tutor now. I think instead of Dave, I think I should be Jane, right? I think it's supposed to be Jane. Yeah, so not Dave. This person is Jane. So yeah, those are the different prompts for different things. So instead of having one giant prompt, usually smaller models struggle if you have this super long prompt. And yeah, we have 4 targeted prompts depending on what the classifier will have classified the message as. The other thing I added is you'll see a tool registry where I need, because now we're going to be calling messages or calling functions. So I need tool calling. So this is just a simple version of a tool registry that's just going to run in memory, where you register a tool and then you can get tools, filtering, also sending a list of the names of the tools that you want, as well as executing a tool. I will do a deep dive video on how tool calling works, because I think there's a misconception somewhere where people think the LLM itself is actually doing the calling, but that's not the case. So in a nutshell, how tool calling works is you give an LLM a list of tools that you have as JSON, and then it decides which tool it wants to call. It sends you back a message to say, I want to call tool X. You are going to run the tool in your process, and then send back a response to the LLM saying tool X's result is this, and then the LLM will then figure out what to do from there. So yeah, we are responsible for executing our tools and sending back the results. And now we also have tool definitions, which hasn't been implemented yet. This is where we're going to define our tools to get possible topics, as well as get teaching notes. What else? The router/router has been upgraded as well. We now have an enum from the intents that the classifier is going to to return rather. We also are passing in the curriculum store in there so that we can create our tool registry from the tool definitions. What else? Our handle message method is now a bit different. I've already done most of the plumbing where first thing I do, I classify, and then I get the intent and the KC code. I like cache it, and then I match and send to different handlers. So, for instance, if it's off topic, we are just going to do, if it's greeting or off greeting rather, we call the generic chat. This is what we had in the previous video. We have the classify, which hasn't been implemented. We have the handle learning, which hasn't been implemented. And we have the handle off topic, which hasn't been implemented. So I'm going to go with the path of least resistance. The first thing we need to do is register our tools. So what we need to do is define a tool, get possible topics. And then what we need here is we need a grade. We are going to have an annotated, because the way we have set it up is our register is going to use these annotated fields to get the description of these parameters. Description. So the description is the student's grade, e.g. 8. So this one returns a dictionary. Maybe let me just, for now. The other thing we need is the subject, yes, which is an annotated string. Yeah, we got it. And other thing we need is the query. The query that the student will have asked. I don't need to have an example there. I don't think it's necessary. It will figure it out. And now I need documentation. I have it written somewhere. Let me see if I can find it, because playing around with that also took a while to get going. I don't have it. Okay. So this gets the possible topics for a student based on the query they have. Let me just make it that simple. So let's implement it. So I'm gonna say possible topics. Yes, we have that. And then if not possible, I'm just gonna return that. Otherwise, I return that. That looks fine. I will register it later, or maybe let me just register it. Get possible topics. So we're registering our tool now. The way if you check our tool registry, you see we send in a name as well as a callable, which is going to be the one that we call or execute when we do the execution. So we're sending in the function, this one. So the other one, we want to def get teaching notes. Let's see what we have. KC code. Yeah. Instead, I'm not going to put the example in case this thing starts hallucinating and sending that actual knowledge component. This gets the teaching notes for yeah, this looks correct. Well, I wrote it before, so I'm assuming it still remembers, but I didn't write it this way, I think, previous time. So we're done with our tool definitions. The next thing we want to do now is to complete the router/router and implement all these sub handlers, if I can call it that. The first one that's quite easy. Oh, yeah, the first one that's quite easy is this handle off topic. So what we want to do is system prompt, is it called off topic J2? Where is our prompts? Off topic J2, we render that. Yeah, system prompt. We send in the history, and then we call the chat. Sorry, I forgot to mention that I also, in our client, added tools. In the previous video, only had messages. So now I added a list of tools as well. If it's there, then we add it in the arguments so that the model can have access to our tools that we have defined. Alrighty. So now we're done with the off topic. That's the easiest one, I think, or the quickest one to implement. Then the next one that we were going to do, let's just do the classification. So system prompt. What's happening with my typing? I don't want. I can render. I think it takes in the grade. Yeah. And subject, let me just confirm what it takes. Yeah, it takes the grade and subject, and the current. I don't think I need to send in the current KC, do I? No, I don't want to send that. I think there's something weird with this classifier here, and nothing happens with that anyway. Let's remove that. Hopefully it's not gonna break, because this small model is quite sensitive to changes in the prompts. So we have the system prompt, messages. We need to add the history. Actually, instead of sending all the history, if the message is too long, if the conversation is too long, I think let's send the top 4, I think. And we need the role of user, and then response. Okay, I need the tools first. Tools, get tools, but I only want one, so I don't confuse the poor thing. Get possible topics. So that's the tool that we want. And then the response that's going to come back. Wait, let's get that. Now, like I mentioned earlier, we want to check if if the LLM decided to make any call tools. So if response dot tool call, is it tool calls? I don't remember if it's tool calls or tool call. What we want to do is we already have this execute tool loop. So this is where we're going to find the tool, and then we execute it from our registry. And then once we have the response from that, we send the message back to the LLM, and then we just go in a loop because it might want to call multiple tools until there are no more tools. We return the final response. I've just added this iteration so that it just to go on and on and on. Yeah, it has to stop somewhere, right? And this is usually a mistake people you do when they are creating these agents that have tools and all that. Sometimes it just goes on, and it will be chowing your tokens. So you need to somehow cap it to say, don't go, for instance, I don't go over 5 iterations. So if we have a tool call, what I'm going to do, I'm just gonna return, maybe let me log. Am I logging inside the tool? Okay, it's already logged. So what I'm going to do is, this is a classify message. So I'm just gonna say, classification result, await. I'm gonna send in them. We'll send in the response. We need the system prompt, the messages that we have, as well as the tools, which is just this one tool. And then we have this helper method where we extract the intent. It just extracts it and return a JSON. So we need to return that. Yeah. Otherwise, we just need to return self extract response content. Okay, so we're done with the classifier. The next one we're going to handle is the learning, which is now going to be using the tutor. So the first thing we need is the system prompt learning. And I think it should only need the KC code. Yeah. So it's we tell it to get the teaching notes from the KC code. So coming back to our router, I have the system prompt. The next thing I need is the messages, which is going to be, I need the history, but I'm going to take the latest 4 for now and send in the user's message. The tools is self tool registry. No, we don't want get. We need now get teaching notes. And then a response, we send that and we check if there are any tool calls. We don't want to classify. This thing is getting, so it's not even, don't even need to do anything. I'm just gonna return that after the tool call loop. That's the final answer. Otherwise, I return response content. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Let's give it a go. If it fails, then we try and debug and see what's gonna happen. UV run stream lit run main.py. Let's see what it's gonna do. Let's greet it. At least I'm hoping it's gonna respond. It's taking time because I'm also recording the video and the local model is also using the GPU, so something is not working. So what chat object has no attribute tool call. Okay, I knew I was not very confident with that. Is it tool calls? Tool calls. Okay, I'm gonna Google OpenAI model tool call. Let's see what is gonna return. What is it called? Tool calls. All right, so it's a plural. So it might return multiple tool calls. So tool calls, where else did I have tool call? Ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-bum, tool calls. So I think I should be good to go now. Yeah, it even said that you mean tool calls. I should just have checked the logs. So let's clear that and run again. We're going to greet it. Hi, and see if it's going to respond. Ba-ba-bum, it's Jane, blah, blah, blah. So if we check the logs, okay, these were the logs where we're indexing. So it classified this as just greeting, the classifier. So it means we didn't need any tool call. So I'm going to try and see what I can find in the curriculum that I can ask about. Let's see. I don't want mental. I want something slow that I can. Okay. Find prime factors. Okay, let's see this one. We're gonna try this one, and the code is that one. So let's ask it. I need help with prime factors. I need help with prime factors. Let's see if it's going to respond, and then we'll check the logs to see what tool calls were made, if any. Something failed again. Learning J2 didn't. You see now accepting this AI stuff. Okay, so it classified it as learning at least. Let's see if it called so it called a tool and it got 5 of them. And then it was sending in the KC code was caps M8 blah 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 blah. Let's see if that's the one. WN04. Let's see if that's the correct one. Yeah. So it's working at least. I just need to. So this one is called tutor.j2, not learn.j2. So that's where we made a mistake by just blindly accepting the AI autocomplete as whatever it says as gospel. It's something that I've realized of seen at the moment in the industry where people just think these things are demigods that know every single thing, which is not the case. You always must take what they say with a pinch of salt. But now humans will like simple things, right? What did I ask it again? So I'm just gonna ask the same question. So we just, instead of greeting, I just want to see the entire loop. I need help. Let's check the logs. So we're gonna see what it's doing. And something failed again. Oh, we see now. I keep making silly bugs, but that's how it goes. So in my handle learning, I forgot to properly send the proper history. Okay. Let's run it again. I need help with that. That's what's working, right? I'm not gonna ask another question because I know this one is at least doing what I expect it to do. So let's see what it's doing in the logs. It's making this tool to get possible topics, sending it's just saying prime factors because I in the prompt I told it not to just send the users thing verbatim. But it's just sending the thing. It didn't run the tool to get teaching notes, as you can see. So we need to figure out why that's the case, because we sent it the correct KC code, but it did not run. So let's see what our prompt is saying. Blah blah blah. If we have the KC code, we need to call get teaching notes. Uh, if teaching notes are not already present in the conversation, maybe let me say you must. Hopefully that's gonna nudge it to make that call. Boom, 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 boom. Let's start again and see. Mm, let's run it again. Let's ask another one, different. I need help with lowest common. It's called lowest common multiple. I think so. Let's see. That's the message. Yes, it made a call. See, now it called our get teaching notes, and they send in the correct code, and then it got the notes. Now that's gonna guide it when it's teaching the student. So let's go and see what the response was. Lowest common multiple is like finding the smallest number that both numbers can divide into perfectly. So now I asked it to use examples that students can relate to. So it's saying you have two different lengths of rope, one 4 meters long, the other 6 meters long, and you want to cut both ropes into equal smaller pieces without leaving any leftovers. So it then gives you an example, multiple of 4 and 6. So you will see, you find what can divide into all those. You'll see it says now the smallest of the numbers is 2. I don't know why it doesn't, but yeah, anyway, if I say 2, it already gave me the answer anyway. So it's a prompting issue. Let's see what it's going to say. Okay, it's saying it's not correct. Almost, that is the correct answer. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying it's not correct. Anyway, let's try a slightly trickier one. I'm gonna give you a wrong answer and say 3. Let's see. Oh, anyway, let's see what it's gonna say. Yeah, so it's saying that's close, but let's check that one. The numbers are 3 and 5. Since both 3 and 5 are prime numbers, the easiest way to find the lowest common multiple is to multiply them together. I don't know. Anyway, um, the goal of the aim of the session was to check that we can call tools now, which means it helps grounding our LLM to guide it to use certain um, nodes, or this is like a simplified reg setup. Maybe in the next video we will see if we can now use vectorization. Now instead of searching by words, we actually search by semantics. Let me give it the multiple of 3 and 5. Let's see if it's gonna give me the answer. Lowest common multiple of 4 and 6 is 12. Okay. So it should have said I'm wrong there, because that's 2 is the lowest common factor, not lowest common multiple. So it's getting its wires crossed. But yeah, I'll give it a benefit of the doubt. It's a very small model. Okay, well done. We've covered the basics or whatever. Yeah, I think we're going to end it here. So in this video, just to summarize, what we did was instead of having it pluck out things out of thin air, we now provided with some grounding. We have a grade 8 maths curriculum that it's using, and then instead of having a giant prompt, now we have smaller prompts for different things. The classifier runs, it figures out if someone just wants to chit chat, it sends them to the generic. Otherwise, if it's an off topic, it sends them to the off topic route. Otherwise, if it's a learning intent, we use the tutor. And yeah, that's it. So our AI tutor is more or less grounded. It's going to be teaching things that are following a certain curriculum, which is quite good. So I will decide whether I need to add um, some vectorization so we are more accurate in our search, especially for topics. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for watching.